Right, it's vest time, guys. So, I was originally going to create the vest in the same file as the shirt, just in case they interacted with one another. But I do have to admit that I like the shirt the way it is now, and I think we will eventually, well, I will eventually run out of memory. So, to avoid that, and to avoid this tutorial basically being half me telling you what to do, and half me waiting for Marvelous Designer to do computational whatever it needs to do, let's go ahead and elect to actually create the vest in a new project. Now, if you've got really good hardware or really good graphics card, what have you, then okay, you can go ahead and merge it, but I'm going to go to a new project myself. Okay, the nice thing about Marvelous Designer is it doesn't actually require a lot of setup. You can see there it keeps your avatar exactly the way she was, and we just start fresh with new garments. Speaking of new garments, we are going to be doing the vest or the waistcoat section, so let's go ahead and take a look at our mood board and our character design there. So you may recall that the heavy inspiration for this waistcoat or this vest was these two pictures right here. Okay, so less of that, but more of this there, just because it looks cool. There's no other way of saying it. It's got a very high collar, it's got straps around it and stuff like that. I think it will look really cool. Okay, so that's essentially what we're going to hopefully end up with. Okay, we'll move that to one side. Now let's take a look at some of our references here. Okay, so I've got two vest patterns. So I've got this one here, which is very, very tiny. It's a small one here. And you can see that that's quite a basic vest. I mean, yes, you could use this if you were quite strapped for time and whatnot, but it's not going to get us very far, unfortunately. I recommend using this reference or reference something like this because there's a little bit more detail to it. It's clearer, it's bigger, and it's got these kind of diamond shapes in them as well, which are the parts that are going to keep the vest nice and form-fitting, which is something that we do want this time. And, well, we'll just see how tight it gets, honestly. Last time when we did that for the shirt, we ended up removing them, but the vest might be a different story, so let's go ahead and put them in there. Okay, so we'll close that out, and we'll get started on here. So you know the drill by now. We'll get a rectangle, not a circle, a rectangle. We'll draw it out, and we will go ahead and place that reference in as a texture. Okay, so we'll click on Fabric 1. Let's rename it to Vest Reference. If I can spell reference, excellent. And then now we'll go to this 4 dot icon and we'll locate it. And there is the vest. Fantastic. So that comes in there, and then we've just got to put that into position, change the size of it so it's roughly correct-ish. Okay. And then now we'll go to our edit texture, and then we'll enlarge it so we can actually have a good frame of reference to work with. Something like that. Okay. Fabulous. Okay, and now you know the drill. Again, back to this. We'll zoom in and we'll use the polygon tool. And it's just a matter of tic-tac-toe. No, not tic-tac-toe, sorry. Join the dot. Tic-tac-toe. Where did that come from? Obviously, my brain isn't quite functioning at normal capacity. Let's go ahead and create a new material for this. We'll call it vest material. And let's go ahead and we'll kind of make this... I wanted to make it a red, but I feel like that might end up hurting our eyes. So let's make it a brown. I won't choose a grey this time. I'll be a bit more inventive. Okay. And then, of course, just like we did with all the others, we'll bring the opacity down slightly so we can see what's going on. Go to our curve tool. Let's just curve in some of these areas here to match our design, and a little bit there. And really, that's about it, really. We can tidy some things up. A little bit of a curve there. C is the hotkey for curve tool. Okay. Oh, whoa, press spacebar. Don't do anything yet. Let's undo that. I keep forgetting that spacebar is the simulate key in Marvelous Designer. It's what happens when you use so many different pieces of software. So I'll freeze this guy right now. I don't need him activated at all. So let's go back to our polygon tool and we'll draw the rear part. Now, something I neglected to do there is this diamond shape there. Remember last time we created a internal seam line and we just deleted it. We created a hole. Well, we can't do that this time because it's actually the outer edge that's been cut in there. So we won't be able to do that this time. So what we're going to have to do, and what we'll have to revisit and do this part with, is we'll have to do that and basically make that as part of the outside edge, essentially. Okay. There you go. Alright. So we'll just curve this up a bit, and then we'll address the front part. How can we do the front part the same way? Okay. Just a bit of an adjustment there. Let's bring that in slightly. Yes, Marvelous Designer, whenever you're ready. Thank you. Fabulous. Okay, so what are we going to do with this? Well, we just have to split it, I'm afraid. Okay, so let's split it. I want quite a few splits. Let's go for at least 5 splits, because we have to go all the way in. So we'll make this guy the point there. We'll make, it's the unfortunate thing when it's curved, you do have this issue a little bit as well. And then we will make, so we have to make this guy that point there, this guy that point up there. And you can see we actually need one more, so we have to split this line again, just so we get an extra point. And what do we do with all this stuff? Well, let's go to curve points, and there are no curve points. Interesting, they're just like this. Okay, if we convert that to a curve point, that's no good. Okay, we do have to come in here, and as far as I know, we have to manually shrink these down. It's a bit annoying, but that's how it is. So don't make the same mistake as I did there. Go ahead and make sure you just go ahead and draw these straight away as you are creating the outside edge. Okay, but if you have done the same thing I've done, this is another way around it, so it's always good to figure out solutions together. That will do. Okay, fabulous. Now, of course, we know what's next. We go ahead, Control C, Control R to reflect our control copy, and we'll put that into position, and we'll do exactly the same for the rear. Control C, Control R, that's fine. Now, the front garments there, or pieces, are perfectly fine the way they're facing, but the rear pieces are obviously not, so we're going to have to rotate them 180 degrees and put them behind her, because that's where they belong. Okay, now you'll notice that this vest looks absolutely nothing like the vest that we want to end up with, but we will just create a basic vest first, and then we'll do all the tweaking and a lot of adjusting later on. Okay, so that's the best way to kind of just go ahead and do this. So what's left now is we'll stitch it all up, and hopefully you're familiar with that process now. So it's just, you can use the 3D view if you like. Just make sure that once again all your sewing edges are straight lines, that they don't cross over. Okay, because otherwise we'll get some awful twisting, which will just slow down our simulation, which is not ideal at all. Okay, and then we will join up these little kind of diamonds areas there. And again, it's going to make the garment quite form-fitting, and we'll just have to see how form-fitting it ends up being, and we can make a judgment call on that a little bit later. Right, should be ready to simulate now. Let's press spacebar. And there we go. So she's basically got this almost like a cowboy-esque, I don't know, I've seen some cowboys wear something like this. It's like a vest, I guess, like a really short waistcoat or vest. Obviously this is not what we want. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we'll move that out the way. Let's get this roughly in the same position there, and we need to apply linked editing. So select the front 2 pieces, go to symmetric pattern under apply linked editing, like so, and give Marvelous Designer time to think. We'll do the same for the back 2 pieces, symmetric pattern. Now that if we change one side, the other side will be affected as well. And then let's come down here, and we'll just select the bottom hemisphere, or the bottom half of these clothes, and we just want to drag them straight down to make them longer, okay, because our vest is quite long. Okay, so what you may want to elect to do is just actually move these back up slightly somewhat again. Okay, maybe up there. It should be around the hip, generally speaking, and you'll see here that this is now a little bit adjusted. Okay, so again, it's going to be a lot of tweaking. Let's just simulate that, and how does that look? Okay. Yep. And obviously we've got to just pull that out just so it's, there we go. Okay, so you can see we've got a very, very large neck here. Okay, now that is something we somewhat want, but we also want this kind of sweeping idea coming across there a little bit. Okay, so that's basically how we're going to create the vest. It looks okay. It's not amazing, that's for sure. Okay, it's a good start for where we'll go and where we'll take it. Okay, I think the straps up here are a little bit too long, so we've got a bit of time left in this video. Let's just shrink them down, and we'll quite a bit actually, so it actually becomes a bit more like a tank top somewhat. We could even measure the distance, so 57.1, 58.9, let's make that a 57, there we go. So it's just roughly the same width, and there we go. Okay, because we're going to have high collars soon. Okay, actually, should we go ahead and make the collars? Why not? Okay, so this will extend the video a little bit, but I feel like we could do a little bit more still. So if we're looking at these collars here, I'm just looking at it, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but bear with me for now. Okay, and we'll play around with this idea. It's a pretty high collar, okay, pretty tall collar, so we have to think about this a little bit carefully. Okay, I'm going to split essentially this element here. Okay, and actually, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm going to go back on that, guys. I'll end the video here because we've just made a vest, and what we'll do in the next one is we'll end up tweaking the fundamental shape, and then we'll put the collar in there, and that will be better for us.